This is Coach Jason Ballard, and I'm a business wingman. Over the years, I've learned a lot from working in our family construction business, serving as a senior officer in the United States Air Force, and running 12 different organizations around the world. Many people helped me get to where I am today, and it's my mission in life to serve as a personal wingman to others. That's what this podcast is all about, providing knowledge, tools, resources, and mentorship to help people soar to their highest altitude. Welcome back to the Soar podcast. This is your host, Coach Jason Ballard, and I'm excited to be with you today because we got a really cool show in store for you. Today, we're going to be talking about the year and where we're at. And for 2024, we're just ending the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter. And so the question to you is, where are you in your business? How is your business performing? Are you doing really well? Do you even know how you're performing? Or are you not doing so well? Are you not maybe, achieving all of the things you want to achieve and hitting all the goals that you set out for, right? Big question. This is that time of year where leaders should be stopping and assessing that situation. So we're going to be talking about end of year review, understanding what is involved in that, things you should be looking for in those kinds of things to put yourself in a best position to win. This is also the time of year where you should be thinking about strategic planning for the next year, 2025. So it's a busy fourth quarter, holidays, end of year, full court press on finishing the year strong and planning for the next year. So it's an action packed time of year for folks. And so today we're going to be breaking that down, simplifying that for you, and providing you with some really cool tools and resources, a process for which you can do this, do it in a very efficient manner, and really set yourself up for success. Really, it's our job as leaders to always have your finger on the pulse of what's going on in the business, what's going well, what's not going so well, and how do you adjust? How do you kind of hit the pause button for a second, make some audibles, make some changes to the playbook that allow your folks in your company as overall how to put them in the best position to win and achieve as much as you can possibly achieve. So we're going to break that down today, and I think you're going to get a lot out of this. A lot of people don't understand planning. A lot of people are scared of planning. In fact, Harvard Business Review states that 77% of companies out there don't have a plan. Or even if they do, they don't stick to it and follow it all the way through to fruition. They may have a plan. It's kind of like, in January of every new year, everybody's got a fitness goal. Everybody signs up to go to the gym, and everybody wants to lose weight. Everybody wants to put on some muscle. Everybody wants to be healthier, feel better, all those kind of things. And usually by around March, most gym memberships have the biggest cancellation of memberships all year long, right? What happens? Well, they start getting in the process of going to the gym and exercising, achieving some of these goals, and either they lack the plan, they lack the accountability, they lack the discipline. Some things start breaking down that process and end up quitting. That happens in business too. People may have ideas or thoughts and a plan, but over time that things get busy, things happen, people come and go, and things don't sometimes get followed through on. Let's make today and going forward a day that you decide that that's not going to be you. You're not going to be a statistic of the 77% of companies out there that don't have a plan. The better you can plan, the better you can communicate that plan, the greater your chances are at winning. Well, who doesn't want to win, right? If we look at sports, it's football season. Every college football coach out there, or even in the NFL, they all have a plan. They all have a playbook. They take and assess their people. They take and assess their talent and their resources around them. They put them in the best position to play on the team. They have a playbook to maximize that talent. and then they make adjustments as they need to, as the plays are executed, as the games are being played, to continuously be put in a position to win. We kind of saw that this past weekend with the Alabama Georgia game. Alabama came out swinging and was up, roughly 30 points. Georgia comes back in the second half, and then Alabama had to readjust and ultimately got the victory. Well, we've got to do that in business too. And so, what I have noticed as a coach, somebody that coaches business leaders all around the world, is that a lot of business people, believe it or not, even the strongest personalities, the strongest, most experienced leaders out there, sometimes are scared of planning. They feel like it's going to take their ability to be nimble, their ability to adapt and just kind of follow the market wherever the market leads, and they it's about control. They feel like they need to have control, and they overcomplicate it, right? They see other companies out there planning. They see these big, consulting firms coming in and trying to, pay $100,000 to come in and do some strategic plan for them. And half the time they get lost in it. It gets too complicated. And some people think about planning, they think about that, and it just kind of deters them. It, allows them to procrastinate in that. Well, I'm going to help you out um, today. We are going to simplify this process for you in a step by step, easy to follow process. I'm also going to offer to provide you a free document that breaks this whole process down, that I will provide to you for free. All you have to do is just reach out through the show notes. Our contact information's in there, and you'll be able to connect with us, and we'll send you that if you would like to have a copy of this. So, step one, end of year review. This is your time in quarter three to take a step back as a business leader or a team of leaders, a C-suite team, and take a step back and say, how are we doing right now? How do we know how we're doing right now? Are you tracking KPIs? Are you tracking metrics? Do you have systems or dashboards or things in place that are telling you how things are going, or are you just trusting some of your people and their manual, put together Excel spreadsheets and hoping that those are accurate, hoping those people aren't missing things in the process? Is it manual or is it systemized? How do you know how you're performing? Key question there. Well, one way you can find out for sure in step one is conducting a business assessment. That's where you have somebody from the outside, like me or another coach or consulting group that may be able to do this, and come in and look at your business holistically. Look at your marketing, what's working and what isn't. Look at your sales, what's converting, what's not. How often are you converting? Are you attracting the right clients that you want to attract? Are you closing deals fast enough? Are you bringing in enough business to meet the demands of the consumer and not going cash flow broke? A lot of considerations there. How you doing with leadership? How's the leadership performing? Having any issues with your leadership team? Is everybody on the same page? In many companies, that is not the case. What about your culture? Assess the culture. How are people doing in the company? How's the morale? How's the camaraderie? How are people working together? Is it efficient and productive, or is it chaotic? Is it dumpster fires? Is it reactive? Right? How's your communication? Your communication's the Achilles heel in every single organization. You can have great people, great processes, great everything, and the communication breakdown, internally or externally in that company, and it can cause you some serious problems. How about looking at your operations? How about looking at your HR practices and your compliance with laws and standards? all these different things matter. All of them individually add up to how is the company holistically performing. And when I do this with people, I have a whole system set up to look at all of these things, and it's based off the Carnegie Mellon framework of CMMI, the capabilities maturity matrix, and that allows you to kind of compare to other companies. Allows you to benchmark. It allows you to see what level you're at on a level of potentially five levels. Level one is not performing very well. Level five is you're pretty much optimized at all the things that you're doing. So where do you fit in that mix? It's always important as a leader to know where you are to help you understand what needs to happen to take you to the place you want to be that's next for you. All right. So conduct a business assessment, have an outside, unbiased person come in and give you a scorecard on how things are going in the company. Okay. Step two, do a team end of year review. Get your leaders together, go to a place that's away from the office. Do an offsite somewhere at a hotel or a conference center, a golf club. I don't know wherever you may be able to do this, but take the team offsite and do a reflection, kind of based off of a SWOT analysis kind of mindset, right? SWOT is an acronym that stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And you and the team just have an honest conversation about how you feel things are going internally to the business, right? So the business assessment is an outside perspective looking in. This is an internal reflection of the company looking out, and that's a real honest to goodness conversation, an honest conversation, right? Set the tone for when you do that to where there's some rules of engagement. That everybody has the freedom to be honest and transparent, and nobody's going to get their feelings hurt. This is a time to kind of pull back the curtain and really give each other feedback on the company, right? And so here's some tips for which I would recommend you do that. One, again, offsite, get away from the office so you can have, confidential conversations without a bunch of employees hearing things and having some good conversation. Number two, the CEO, leader of the company should not facilitate this. Not that they can't. If you have to, great, do it. It's better than not doing it at all. But have somebody, a business coach, consultant, a professional come in and facilitate it for you. So you as the CEO, you as the president of the company, leader of the company, can focus and engage on a deeper level than trying to worry about, what's next and who ordered lunch and are we going to get lunch on time and all the facilitation aspects of that. And to make sure people, you get on all the things you want to get in the way you need to get them in to make sure you do a complete internal end of year review. All right. And so when you think end of year review, what all should we be thinking about there, coach? What's part of that process and what shouldn't be? So I'm going to break that down. One of the first questions you want to table in the beginning of this offsite with your team is how well did we execute our strategic plan for the year? So here we are 3 quarters through 2024. How well are we executing our plan? Well, that's going to beg the question, well, do we even have a plan? No, we don't have a plan. So we didn't execute the plan. Well, why didn't we have a plan? Well, we're busy. Well, whatever the excuse is, the most successful companies have a strategic plan, but we don't. So how do we measure ourselves against something that doesn't exist, right? So maybe that's your clue to start putting together a plan each year, all right? So how well did you execute the plan, the goals, the priorities? Did you stay on track? Or are you off in the ditch somewhere off track? Well, You got the fourth quarter to make some adjustments and get back on track if you're not where you want to be. All right. Another thing you need to talk about as a team is how well did the team, and when I say the team, I'm talking about the entire team, all of the employees, all of the managers, all of the leaders. Holistically, how did the company adjust and adapt to adversity? Every company faces adversity all the time. Things happen, people come and go, people get hired, people get fired, there's deaths in the family, there's changes in the market, there's natural disasters, there's all kinds of things, disruptions to the business. How did the team adapt to adversity this year? Was it smooth and effortless? Did everybody work together? Everybody, come together through adversity, or did it riff everybody apart and create a lot of problems and challenges and frustration? Was it chaotic or was it organized? Good opportunity for you to be asking those questions. Why was it chaotic? Why was it disorganized? Why was it centered around one person? Why did it take so long to overcome an issue? Why didn't things get communicated on time? Those are really powerful questions to be asking, right? Next, profitability. Did we make as much money as we needed to make? Are we even profitable this year? Were we profitable enough to meet our goals? Whether you're 10% profitable or 40% profitable, what was your goal to be profitable this year? That's going to open up a door to, well, how are we managing expenses? Are we even setting the right goals in the first place? Are we charging enough money to people for what we do? Are we below or above market rates compared to other people that do similar things, right? Allows you to really explore that and take off. Next, well, what is working across the company? Let's look at the company. What is working the best? What is our strengths of the team? Is it our HR department who's the strongest? Is it the IT department? Is our technology superior? Is it our marketing is killing it and just bringing in people left and right? What's working well? Why is it working well? What about that aspect of the company is successful above other things in the company? Is it the leadership? Is it the systems, the maturity, the processes? Like, what about it is working really well? And can that be replicated across other areas of the company? Because the bigger companies get, the greater the chance of their company being siloed, everybody kind of being in their own lane with blinders on and not paying attention. This is a great opportunity to do some cross breeding here of great things that are happening that can be replicated in the company. Now, conversely, the question is, well, what's not going so well? What are things we need to stop doing? What are things that we've done that didn't go smoothly? What are things we don't want to replicate across the company? Why are these things not going so well? What's causing things not to go so well? Is it communication? Is it bad leadership? Is it, people don't feel empowered? People are leaving. Retention is low. Like, what is driving whatever is not going so well? Definitely need to deep dive that. What are the weaknesses of this organization? What are we not doing that we're supposed to be doing in a way that's weaker than our competition? That's powerful. That takes guts. That takes some real honest look in the mirror conversations with the team. Sometimes that has to do with a particular person sitting at the table. Sometimes that's a holistic thing. That's a cultural thing. Sometimes that could be, things that have impacted your company that you may or may not have had control over that caused a lot of problems in your company. And you've got to overcome those weaknesses. But knowing those strengths, knowing those weaknesses is powerful, because once you have data, once you have knowledge, once you have agreement that those are legitimate issues, and the teams in concert on those things being issues, then you can start talking about potential options to overcome them, right? Some other things I want to challenge you when you do an interview review that you need to be looking at and thinking about deeper than what we've talked about thus far is things like, well, what are our products and services that need to be expanded? What's the market shifts telling us? What are people buying more of? What do people need more of? What are the gaps in the market that we might need to fill that may be in addition to what we're already doing that can help drive and diversify our business, right? What business areas need to be expanded? All right. Conversely, which ones need to be deleted? Which ones aren't performing? Which ones are kind of dying on a vine? You just need to cut the cord and just stop those things and allow your time and money to be invested in things where you can, drive better results, right? Some other things to think about. What are the opportunities that you didn't take advantage of this year? What are opportunities you did not take advantage of this year that you wish you did? That's important. Seeing things go by and not being able to have enough time or energy or whatever to put into those opportunities, to grow those opportunities. Missed opportunities cost you money. Missed opportunities cost you time. Missed opportunities cause you greater opportunities. If you let a door shut be shut on you in your company with a missed opportunity, then what you don't know is how many doors um, could have been opened behind that door that you never even knew existed, right? So, what are the opportunities you didn't take advantage of that you need to take advantage of next year or as you go forward? What are some of the threats to the company? Well, what do we mean? Like cyber threats, criminal threat? Like, what do we mean by threats, right? Well, competition. Are you on a moat like Warren Buffett by yourself doing what you're doing and you've got enough distance between you and your competitors? Or are they creeping in on you? Are they doing what you're doing even better or more efficient? Have they changed their business model? That could be a risk. Competition's always a risk. Environmental factors, political factors, or a risk. How about this one? What if you have some weak leaders on the team that can't maybe go the distance with you unless they either develop themselves or do something different as a leader, right? Every company can only grow to the um, level for which a leader or leaders are mature enough, smart enough, knowledgeable enough to take them forward. Every company hits a ceiling based on where the leadership is, right? So, is leadership a threat for you? Have you hit a ceiling with your leaders? Do you need to think about maybe replacing those leaders or developing them, investing in them, moving them up, challenging them out of their comfort zones? Leadership certainly is a threat. How about people? Other people in your company, employees, technical experts, subject matter, folks. Do you have enough of them? Are you keeping them? Are you making them happy? Or is there heavy turnover? That's a risk. Think about your risks and your threats and identify them. There's a lot of them out there you probably aren't even thinking about because the more you understand your threats, the more you're able to counter those threats and mitigate them, right? Lessons learned. What did we learn this year? What mistakes did we make that we don't want to make again? What were the really good things and successes and good news stories that you want to celebrate that went really well that we want to replicate? What were the really most important top 10 lessons learned, good or bad, that we want to carry forward as you go forward. Some other things to be thinking about in your end of year review and step number two is who needs to be promoted? Who's the rock star? Who's stepping up? Who's working late? Who's really hungry and humble to move forward, not only for the company but for their own development. They have high aspirations, and you need to keep them engaged and motivated, right? Who's ready to be promoted? Now, I want to caution you here, just because somebody works hard doesn't mean they need to be promoted. Just because somebody does a good job at one level doesn't mean they automatically would be a great, be a, gonna kill it at the next level. You need to assess that situation. Make sure they're ready to be promoted. Make sure they are developed. They do have the skills, and the resources and the knowledge, right? The last thing you want to do is just promote somebody for, good past work, and then they fail. You see that a lot of time in first time managers and supervisors. They were good as a technical person or good as a frontline employee, horrible as a supervisor or manager, right? So you want to think through that. But I guarantee you got folks on your team that need to be promoted. Good time to be racking and stacking those folks, and figuring out when the best time to do that is and what that transition needs to look like. Conversely, who needs to be fired? Who needs to be fired? Who's causing problems? Who keeps poisoning the well that everybody's drinking from and getting everybody sick, getting everybody frustrated? Who causes all the problems? Who's constantly not following the rules? Who's constantly being complained against? Like, this is a time where you've been working with somebody that's been challenged, maybe not a good fit, maybe struggling, and you've worked with them for a period of time and it just maybe not gonna work out. Who needs to be fired? All right. Who needs to be hired? What skill sets do you need to be brought in? What new um, knowledge sets do you need to bring to the table? What new energies, innovations, breakthroughs? What do you need to do to move your company forward in a progressive manner? And what kind of people do you need to do those things, right? So who needs to be promoted? Who needs to be fired? Who needs to be hired? Really great questions to be thinking about. One of the last things I want to challenge you with is, what's holding the company back? What are your constraints? What are your roadblocks? Like, if you could conquer X, this would allow your company to move forward and make the greatest impact. If you were able to overcome this obstacle, this would be a breakthrough that would, solve a lot of problems. And that could be people issues and finding the right kind of talent and keeping talent on the team. That can be maybe some technology or systems you need to put in place. What is holding you back? That if you had a magic wand, you can wave that magic wand and put that into place, and it would make the biggest contribution to the company to move it forward. Um, Really, really powerful things here. But these are some major components of a year end review that leaders should start having amongst themselves as they close out quarter three, because at the end of the day, this is your chance to think about quarter four and what changes you need to make in quarter four to give yourself the best chance to overcome challenges and end the year as strong as possible. Okay. I hope everybody's following me on that, right? I'm giving you a step by step recipe that will walk you right through this in a very simple and streamlined manner, right? So, multiple step process here. Step number one, conduct an outside business assessments. Step two, an internal review. Okay. Step three, out of a 5-step process. Step three, now that you've figured those things out, now that you have a really good understanding of the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, who needs to be hired, who needs to be fired, and you put a plan into play to execute that, the next thing, step three, that I recommend you do is eliminate excess. Eliminate stuff. Um, Scope creep happens everywhere. It happens on projects, it happens in your finances. Stuff creeps in. Review your finances. What are you paying for you don't need to pay for anymore? What subscriptions, you canceled, you thought you canceled, but never actually got canceled, and you're still paying for it and you had no idea. I came across this, in a company I ran a number of years ago, where we had made a bunch of technology changes and canceled fax lines and consolidated our telephone systems and did all these things in the technology supposed to be saving us about $10,000 a month. And we looked at the bills later down the road, and I'm like, man, something is wrong. I had an expert telecommunications consultant come in and review everything. And sure enough, the company that we were buying our services from never processed everything correctly, and things got bogged down in their process. And anyway, they owed us a lot of money as a result because we had the documentation. But that stuff creeps up and you just get busy and you don't pay attention to things. Eliminate excess. Look at the finances and really review that and strip that down to things you just really need. Another thing to be eliminating is areas where you may be doing duplicate efforts, or it's taking you too long to do things, right? It's a manual process, a laborious, system. I know companies that have multiple systems that do the same thing, and their people spend hours and hours of administrative time updating various systems with the same information. Like, well, why can't we delete the systems? Why can't we integrate these systems? Why can't we have one system that does what we need? Well, it was just scope creep. Over years, one system did one thing and then it didn't do something else. And then he went out and bought another one, and that they only used it for one thing. And then he bought another system to do it for another thing. And well, things change. Technology changes. There's systems that allow you to integrate, do all kind of stuff, and eliminate all that excessive work and duplication. Highly recommend you take a look at those things, right? Where do you need to trim the fat? Where's the dead weight in the company? What's the anchor? What's the biggest, charges on your P&L there that you need to trim down, right? What's taken too long to do? What are customers the most challenged with? What are your customers complaining about you the most? Right? These are all areas you can pinpoint and streamline those things. All right, number 5, my favorite, celebrating success. After you go through steps, 1 through 3, you have a really good idea of how things are going. You have a really decent idea about, what you should be going to do next, and what next steps are, right? So this is your opportunity to bring the team, all of the team, the company together towards the end of the year here and celebrate all the successes, all the milestones, all the projects, all the client wins, all the good things. Even if it was a bad year or you didn't hit on all your goals, there's still a lot of positive things that have happened, things that changed, things that evolved, things that grew, things that were, putting, your company in a better place than it was before. There's always success in every business, even if it's not successful in every single area. Find those areas and celebrate that success with the team. Talk to the team about those things. Document those wins. Um, Connect with the people that were key in allowing those things to happen. Your key players on the team that went over and above. This is a time where you recognize your people, hand out, yearly trophies and attaboys, and maybe some bonuses if you're able to do that. Promote some people where you want to celebrate. You want to end the year on a really good, strong note. Obviously, we got the holidays mixed in there, etc. Right now, you're in a place where you've kind of balanced everything out, which leads us to the 5th and final step, building the new plan, right? So if you think about it, we're at the end of the third quarter, going into the fourth. And so we're making adjustments based on the first three quarters data on how to end the fourth quarter, how to prioritize things in the fourth quarter. All the reviews, all of the assessments, all the things we've done tell us what we need to do to end strong for the year. But it's also the time of year we need to be thinking about 2025. When people come back to work in the middle of January, okay, where are we going? What's going to be different in 2025? What are our priorities in 2025? How much are we going to grow? Which direction are we going to go in? How fast are we going to go? What are our goals? What's going to be different? What's my personal level of engagement that I need on a personal employee level, need to engage in that may be different than last year? That's where you put together a strategic plan. And there's a whole process we'll talk about on our next episode about how to put a plan together. Doesn't have to be massive, doesn't have to be some big, thick, huge, glossy binder. It can be very streamlined and very focused. In fact, this is the time of year where I'm doing all these things with my current clients and strategizing on how to pivot, how to adjust, how to move some people around, how to tune up the systems, how to get rid of things that keep getting in the way, how to, kind of buzzsaw through some things that need to be dealt with, get it out of the way and focus on the new year. And so the next time we come together, I'm going to break down strategic planning and goal setting in a very simple, streamlined manner to help you kind of cut through that and at least get something on the board, because again, 77% of people out there don't even have the plan, and you need a plan. You need to get your people excited. It's hard to get a whole bunch of people that work for you excited and motivated and focused and disciplined if we're not on the same page. Well, how do you create a page for everybody to get on? Well, create a plan. Talk to them about the plan. Tell them where their specific area of the plan is, that they need to contribute to. That's they're accountable for, right? And people feel important. They feel valued. They feel like you can't do it without them, right? You follow this process. It's very engaging, and it allows you to turn over all the rocks that you need to turn over in order to move your company holistically as a team together, in the ways that the right ways. Okay. And so today, I hope you got a lot of value out of this. Again, my goal today is to disrupt your thought process. Everybody's in go, go, go mode. Everybody's focused on doing their daily work and sometimes just kind of lose sight of where they are in this process. We're in the third quarter here, going into the fourth quarter. This week turns the page into the fourth quarter. I want to challenge you as a leader to take a step back. I want to challenge you to get out of your day to day. I want to challenge you to be more proactive. I want to challenge you to really be critical of yourself and the company, not in a mean and demeaning way, of course, but in a positive way, to really truly evaluate where you are, where you're going, and make sure you get there. All right. That is my goal. And I think if you follow my process that we've laid out, and by the way, this again is documented, we will put this, connect this to the show notes. If you want a written checklist or a written document that lays all this stuff out, happy to provide that to you for free. Happy to have a conversation with you about how to execute that if you have questions coming out of this podcast. But my goal is to help you and everybody out there be successful in the fourth quarter strong and have a really good, solid plan that everybody's excited about for 2025. And if we can do that, I think we all will contribute to making this world a better place. And so that's it for today's show. Let me know what you think about that. Feel free to drop some comments off as you're, hearing this on the podcast channels. Next week, folks, we're going to be talking about some interesting things here. I said the Achilles heel of every organization is communication. Next week, we've got some experts on the show to help you deal with that challenge as you're communicating, as you're doing interview reviews and assessments, as you're planning. The communication of all that will make you or break you. And so next week, we've got some really special people on the show. It's two people on the show. We're going to get two for the price of one next week. We're going to be talking about eliminating the divide and becoming a master communicator that can connect with anyone on any level in any environment. It's going to be very, very powerful. You're going to get a lot out of it. And so it's a good piggyback on top of this one. And then from there, we're going to be talking about planning and how to break down a plan for 2025 and get into the details of that. So there's no excuse. You will be fully armed, fully capable of moving this company forward with no issues, right? That's what we're here to do, to make you successful. So that's it for today. Hope you have a great week, everybody.